starts right now.
It's been a deadly start to the new year in San Antonio. The questions still surrounding this single car crash.
And honoring the life of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, how he is being remembered by church leaders and parishioners here in San Antonio.
Plus, a retired officer shot in the line of duty turns to KSAT investigates for help. The promise he says the city made him long ago, and why he's been forced to put much needed dental care off for more than a year.
But first, a car fire so intense, investigators are still trying to figure out how many people died inside.
Yeah, only hours into the new year, San Antonio police say the driver crashed into a concrete pillar, setting the car on fire. This was the scene in the 8200 block of I-35 around 4:30 this afternoon, or 4:30 rather this morning. When officers got there, the car was fully engulfed in flames.
They tell us it appears the car crossed over 3 lanes before driving off the highway and slamming into the pillar at the on-ramp. No other vehicles were involved in the crash.
Now to a scary firefight for San Antonio firefighters today at the northeast side gas station. Investigators now saying it looks like it started in the back of the building, perhaps in the kitchen or maybe in the electrical wiring. Take a look. That fire broke out just about 2 o'clock this afternoon at the Shell gas station in the 5100 block of Randolph Boulevard and Crestway Drive. That's off of I-35. Now, close to 30 fire units responded to the scene. Firefighters say the gas station was open at the time of the fire, but so far, there have not been any reports of anyone who was injured. As you can see, the bulk of the damage was contained to the store and not the gas pumps outside. We are told where the fire started in the back, there were highly flammable materials, including grease that's used in the store's kitchen. Crews were eventually able to put those flames out.
Tonight, people are honoring the legacy of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. The 95-year-old former pope died yesterday.
Yeah, local parishioners tell the Night Team's Alyssa Cole about the impact the late leader had on the Catholic Church and its followers.
Sunday, San Antonio Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Ciar holding a special mass to honor Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI at San Fernando Cathedral.
He was a man very bright, very wise.
The Pope passed away on Saturday. He was 95 years old. Archbishop Garcia Ciar remembers his encounter with the Pope when he was installed as Archbishop.
I was able to learn from him understanding, patience, and humility.
Others reflecting on his legacy.
He played roles in the church, right? John Paul II called him to play major roles to help do some corrections and things like that.
And some people are honoring the lessons left behind from his service and duty.
One thing we need to remember is to be open-minded, you know, to the willingness to listen.
I think that was probably one of his greatest legacies, is his saying that we were made for so much more, that we could do better.
Tim, Courtney, we spoke to a lot of people out here throughout the day, and one thing a lot of people continue to mention over and over as we interview folks, they say they hope the legacy, the service, the community service that Pope enacted, they hope his impact continues, that impact bringing light to the world. Alyssa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
Alyssa, thank you. Well, state lawmakers will head to Austin next week for the 88th Texas legislature, which is scheduled to convene at the state capitol on Tuesday, January 10th. As of today, 1,538 bills have been filed for consideration at the Texas House and Senate. Some of those bills have the city of San Antonio's attention. We spoke to the city's director of government affairs about its legislative priorities in the upcoming session. You can watch that report right now on KSAT.com.
It will be a happy new year for a retired San Antonio police officer. He was shot in the line of duty 43 years ago, and he's still living with the effects of his wounds. Retired Sergeant Coy Boone was promised all medical care related to his injuries would be covered for life. So why is it taking him more than a year to get approved for dental implants, and why did it take just one email from KSAT Investigates to solve the problem?
He's shooting Oscar right there, Oscar Gallo.
This was Coy Boone's worst day as a police officer.
Quick, we got an officer's been shot. Get an ambulance over, quick.
I was a member of the SWAT team, and I was the only sergeant working that day on SWAT.
A fellow officer had been shot by a teenager. Boone and the SWAT team surrounded the gunman inside this home on Bering Street.
We opened the back door. He came out.
And then
he just pulled out a gun and shot an officer at the door. And then the other officers just responded and shot him. They opened fire at him. I was just about to shoot the man. I was hit here, 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 and here. 6 times. 3 in the vest, 3 in the body.
Boone and the other 2 wounded officers survived their injuries. He went on to serve another 19 years at SAPD and several more in local law enforcement before retiring. Even now, he still carries souvenirs from that November day in 1979. One is in this frame, the other is inside him.
And you still have one of the pellets?
Yes, right here in my throat.
He's also living with the effects of the medications he was on for years to control seizures caused by his injury.
The side effect of one of those medicines, I don't know which one it is, but it causes periodontal disease.
Following the shooting, the city agreed to cover all Boone's medical expenses related to the injury for the remainder of his life through the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. For years, everything's been covered, including several dental procedures. So when his dentist told him he needed dental implants last year, he submitted this proposed treatment plan for approval.
He needs about $15,000 roughly in dental work.
Becky Kozowick is Boone's daughter.
The dentist is ready to do the work. It's just we're waiting for a guarantee that it'll be paid for.
That treatment proposal was sent to the risk pool way back in September of 2021. Kozowick says they never got a reply, so she sent this email in June of last year requesting approval in writing. It never came. She says the medical claims specialist handling her dad's case told her that wasn't necessary.
There is no prior authorization needed, that they don't do those. And when speaking with his dentist, they told me they can't do that can't do the dental work without a prior authorization.
Kozowick says for 5 months they heard nothing. Then on November 28th, KSAT Investigate sent this email to the Texas Municipal League. Within hours, the person handling Boone's case sent this email to Kozowick stating the procedure had been approved months ago. The dentist also received this approval letter that day. It was dated June 6th, the same day Kozowick had sent her email seeking approval. The dentist office told Kozowick they had no record of that letter being sent to them before November 28th.
She said we hadn't received anything until yesterday, and I trust them because I know that had they received something, an approval, they would have called my dad.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
While it's difficult to say who's responsible for this unnecessary delay, it now appears everyone is on the same page. And Coy Boone is on his way to getting some new teeth.
What are you most looking forward to doing once you finally get those implants that you need?
Oh, probably go eat a steak.
And he deserves that. Coy Boone was notified by his dentist last month. Everything is now back on track. His dental work will be covered and paid for, and he should start the process of getting his new teeth later this month. His dentist did not want to participate in this story. I got this response from the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. While they couldn't talk to me specifically about Boone's case, they said the TML risk pool strives to give our workers' compensation claimants prompt attention, which didn't happen in this case. I'll let you know when Mr. Boone gets his new implants and we go out to have a steak together.
I was gonna say, hope having a steak.
We have a standing date here.
You better enjoy the steak. That's wonderful. All right, y'all, taking a look outside here with live cam this Sunday night. A little bit muggy out there. We started off this morning with some fog across portions of south central Texas, and then temperatures, once we were able to see that break up, leeway to more sunshine, those temperatures were able to climb into the upper 70s, even approaching 80 degrees in spots. What a difference today was from just 7 days ago. Christmas Day, we had a hard freeze in the morning, and then our afternoon highs around 50. Today, we started off in the upper 40s here in San Antonio, and yes, those warmer than average daytime highs continued. We are expecting more 70s as we head into the first couple of days of the upcoming week. 66 right now over at San Antonio International, a dew point of 61, so it is noticeably more humid out there tonight, and because of that humidity, we are already starting to see some fog develop across the coastal plains in our far southeastern counties. I do think that expands farther northward as we head into the overnight hours and early tomorrow morning. We'll have a look at that future cast for visibility, plus a little bit of drizzle possible in just a few.
Still to come on the Nightbeat, found but still lost to the world of the living. Unidentified remains. The process of putting a face and a name to them sometimes demands an awful lot of time. We're taking you inside the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office that is charged with finding out who they are. Plus, the housing crisis pinching just about everyone who's looking for a place to live. Here in San Antonio, one factor that could be one of the reasons that availability is so limited, short-term rentals.
And devastating news leaves a daughter desperate to get to her mother right in the thick of holiday travel season. Why she's sharing her story with the world now. The Southwest Airlines CEO says the company will, quote, dial up the work to modernize its operations. Southwest returned to normal operations just on Friday after canceling more than 15,000 flights within just a week. A winter storm and dated scheduling technology caused the airline's point-to-point schedule to collapse. CEO Bob Jordan shared an end-of-year note with employees that says in part, quote, I know that we have work to do to restore your confidence in Southwest. You have our word that we will commit to the necessary resources to quickly examine and bolster our strategy for continuous improvement in our processes and our systems and more, end quote. Southwest has promised to refund and reimburse customers affected by those cancellations. If you were affected, you can find more information on KSAT.com.
And of course, because all of that, Southwest Airlines saw a lot of negative press throughout the week. But there is one woman who is singing the praises of a ticketing agent for helping her on her mother's very last day.
Yeah, the San Antonio woman tells the Night Team's Lee Waldman she'll forever be grateful for the kindness of a stranger.
We were just always attached at the hip, my best friend, and I just could never imagine my life without her.
To say Amy Berry and her mom Edith were close was an understatement.
That's her with the pirates. Every Sunday we had our hot dates.
Being the youngest of three and her mother's only girl, Berry says their relationship was special.
We were, as my brothers would say, kind of codependent on each other.
It's why the call Berry got on Thanksgiving Day gutted her to her core.
My mom had fallen asleep and never woke up. And my whole world crumbled.
Less than 10 days earlier, Edith had gone to Cancun to see her family who lives there. Berry says her mom was perfectly healthy. They never saw it coming.
She was in a different country. Things move a lot more quickly. And I had to be there.
Unfortunately for Berry, this past Thanksgiving, airports saw travelers at pre-pandemic levels. Only 2 flights would get her to Cancun, one at 5 p.m. and the other at midnight.
Just being stuck in an airport, like just needing to be with my mom. I mean, I was already going crazy.
Berry was told the later flight was the only option until Rosie stepped in.
She just said there was no way she wasn't going to get us on that flight. Like, she knew when she saw my face that I had to get on that flight.
Rosie, a ticketing agent for Southwest Airlines, held up the flight and made sure Berry was on it, getting Berry to her mother's side faster. Berry posted about the experience in a now viral Facebook post, hoping it'll soften people's hearts.
Some people might not call it a miracle, but for us, that was definitely a miracle.
Berry's post has been shared over 5,000 times. She hopes by sharing this story, it encourages people to give airline workers some grace. At the San Antonio International Airport, Lee Waldman, KSAT 12 News.
An iconic piece of San Antonio's skyline is gearing up for a multi-million-dollar transformation. The Tower Life building stands 31 stories tall over downtown. Tomorrow night on the Nightbeat, we'll take a look back at the building's 90-plus year history in San Antonio and what's to come for that building in 2024.
Our skyline's changing a lot.
Yep.
And it's seeing some warm weather in 2023.
Awful lot of dry weather, too.
Yes, absolutely. And we're really heading into tomorrow. While we're not expecting widespread rain, we do have the potential for some drizzle out there in the morning and maybe a few isolated showers in our far eastern counties into the afternoon. But that's about it over the next several days in terms of a rain chance. So tomorrow, because of the added humidity that we have in place here tonight, fog already developing, and that's going to continue to be the theme as we head into the overnight hours tonight. But into the afternoon, we should see some sunshine return, helping those temperatures still climb well above the average for this time of year. That is all ahead of a cool front that's going to move in tomorrow night. That's going to help bring in some additional drier air, replacing some of that humidity, but still highs above average Tuesday and Wednesday. It's not until we see a reinforcing push of cooler air that arrives Wednesday that will finally bring our highs back down closer to where we should be for this time of year in the 60s to wrap up the week. Now, before we get there, I do want to briefly touch on air quality, because last night with all the fireworks that we had here in San Antonio, we had a bit of a haze that developed here in town. That really knocked our air quality down to the unhealthy category earlier this morning. Thankfully, conditions did improve throughout the day. Moderate is where we sit right now. But also, if you woke up this morning with some itchy eyes or a stuffy nose, that likely was due to very high mountain cedar levels today, the highest that we have seen so far this season. So we'll see what that reading is tomorrow, but because of that cool front moving in tomorrow night, wouldn't be surprised if Tuesday we also saw some elevated mountain cedar levels. So we'll keep eyes on that here over the next couple of days. Until then, a look at temperatures in and around the San Antonio area here tonight. 67 over at the airport here this hour, 66 in Bulverde, 67 at Stinson, 66 in Hondo, and 62 up in Rio Medina. Again, we do have more humidity in place today. That's been pumping into south central Texas over the past 24 hours. Dew points right now compared to where we were this time last night, about 20 degrees warmer, which essentially just means you can feel a little bit more of that mugginess when you do step outdoors. And that's going to be the theme tomorrow morning as we continue to see some of that fog develop. Likely some of it will be dense in spots. So if you are planning on hitting the roadways tomorrow morning, probably a good idea to give yourself a little bit of extra time and be careful out there on area roadways. We also do have the potential to find some pockets of drizzle tomorrow morning as well. And then as we head into the afternoon, we see some of that cloud cover break up, leading way to more peaks of sunshine. But again, it's possible, especially from Karnes City stretching over to Gonzales in our far eastern counties. We find just a few isolated showers into the afternoon, and then that activity moves farther off to the northeast, and we see mostly clear skies heading into tomorrow evening. Temperature-wise, from where we are right now compared to where we'll start off tomorrow morning, those temperatures likely not going to fluctuate a whole lot thanks to that thicker cloud cover moving in. I think we'll start off in the 60s for a good portion of the area. We'll then start to see those temperatures warm into the late morning hours, especially around 70 by 11 a.m. And then as we head into the afternoon hours and we see more peaks of sunshine, yet another warmer than average day. Daytime highs topping off near 80 degrees here in San Antonio. I think it is possible that we briefly touch that 80-degree mark, so we'll keep eyes on that. Temperatures in the 70s Tuesday and Wednesday, and then there comes that reinforcing push of cooler air that drops those daytime highs back into the 60s by Thursday and Friday, guys.
2023 is already making me sweat. I don't like it. Waiting for Wednesday.
All right, Larry will be in to give us a preview of tonight's instant replay right after this. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are sputtering at the wrong time of the season, and now they're in danger of not winning the NFC East. Larry is in for Greg tonight with a preview of tonight's instant replay. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. And by the way, the Cowboys still have a shot at winning the #1 seed overall in the NFC. So that's pretty crazy when you think about it. So if the Eagles lose at home next week to the Giants, and if the Cowboys can win at Washington, then the boys will claim the NFC East because of a better division record. Coming up tonight on Instant Replay.
This is not as easy as, everyone or I may look or other guys may look or make it seem. I promise you sacking the quarterback's not that easy.
Cowboy star linebacker Micah Parsons has just 1 sack in his last 5 games. He still leads the boys with 13 sacks this season. Dorrance Armstrong is next with 8. Micah still has that Lion mentality, though, as the leader of the boys' linebacking core.
I think it's just fun. It excites me and it's entertaining for me to, go against the best players.
Luka Doncic dropped 51 points on the Spurs last night. Jeremy Sohan certainly tried his best to slow Luka down. Now it's time for the Spurs to turn the page and tip off the new year in Brooklyn. Tonight, we will reveal our top 12 local sports stories for 2022, and UTSA football definitely made the cut after winning its second straight Conference USA championship. Plus, the CFP National Championship game is all set, and a fifth grade basketball player gets our Insira Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Play of the Week. That and much more, including NFL highlights tonight on Instant Replay.
If you ask me, the national championship game was the last game last night. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Didn't end the way I wanted.
Nope,
Thanks,
sure didn't.
The second earthquake in an area of Northern California in a matter of weeks will show you the moment yesterday's quake hit.
Plus, a rare look inside the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office. They identify people and investigate causes of death. And tonight, we find out what staff members call the hardest part of the job. It is rare that cameras get a look inside the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office, but for this KSAT Explains, our team did. Death is a part of the job there, but sometimes answering how a person died is the easy part.
Yeah, finding out who that person is can be much harder. Myra Arthur talks one-on-one with the chief medical examiner and chief investigator to offer some insight into the mystery surrounding what it is they do, reconnecting unidentified remains to the names and the lives they left behind.
You're the last physician that a patient's going to see.
Dr. Kimberly Molina deals with death, but that's not how she would describe this job.
I would say we actually do what we do for the living, which I think a lot of people don't understand.
The living, those left behind and left with questions.
But there are often questions about what happens here. What does it mean when someone dies and ends up in the care of the medical examiner's office?
The most common preconception that people have is that if someone comes to our office, if the death falls under our jurisdiction, they think immediately, oh, they think someone killed them, that it's a homicide, that all we do here are homicides. And we do homicides here, that is our jurisdiction. But our jurisdiction is actually any unnatural death. So car accidents, people who fall down and maybe hit their heads, or cases where we just don't know.
They may not be under doctor's care, may not have significant medical history.
Nicole Healy is chief investigator for the medical examiner's office.
Investigation section where the eyes and ears of the doctors, the actual forensic pathologists at the scenes.
She and her team respond to the scene of a death. Law enforcement may investigate if someone died as the result of a crime. She wants to know why they died.
It's number one, why did the person die, but then also, who are they?
Unfortunately, it does happen where cases take, weeks, months, even years for us to really figure out what happened.
Had they ever been fingerprinted? We'll run fingerprints. Or do you know who their dentist is? Yes, they were seen here.
We can take x-rays and see if they have sort of any implanted hardware, for instance, a pacemaker, or maybe they've had a hip replacement. And try to track people down that way. We can actually contact the manufacturer of these devices and ask them to assist us as to what hospital did you send this to? What date was it manufactured? What date was it implanted?
People sometimes will have tattoos that will say who they are, at least give us family members.
What happens if you hit a dead end, if none of those options work?
Currently working probably 20 active cases within the past 10 years.
20 people whose names the medical examiner's office does not know, but is still working to find out. So they turn to the internet.
On May 29th, 2021, the body of an unidentified man was discovered in the 8900 block of Mission Road in San Antonio.
This spring, the medical examiner's office redesigned its website, highlighting those unidentified cases, sharing what is known about the person.
He was 5 foot 8 inches tall and weighed about 140 pounds. He had a tattoo on his upper left arm showing a flag, heart, and a ribbon.
This is another tool in our toolbox that we didn't have 20 years ago, right? 10 years ago. Now we have it, let's use it.
Each case includes a forensic sketch of what it's believed that person looked like.
These forensic artists are not necessarily looking at a face when they are drawing these sketches. They have to put together details that may not be there.
Absolutely. It's going to be case by case. Sometimes they could do a sketch. Sometimes they go into even more forensic artwork where they're just getting details, information, molds, and going from there.
It's those unidentified cases that so often stick with this team.
Even if you have the cause and manner of death, even if you could provide closure to family, you don't even have the family to provide the closure to.
An extraordinary effort to identify remains came in June, when 53 migrants died after being trapped in the back of a sweltering 18-wheeler. The medical examiner's office worked with consulates from Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala to identify those who passed. And just a month before that, the horrific shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's office again was tasked with responding in the aftermath of that tragedy. Doctors from other parts of the state were called in to help.
When people come into our care, there's not a choice, right? The families don't actually have a choice. There's some part of the mandate, the legal mandate, that has brought them into our care. We absolutely want to make sure that families understand that we are going to treat their loved ones with dignity, with respect. We're going to get the answers that they deserve.
Even if in some cases, it takes years.
This is someone's loved one, their son, their mother, their daughter. They have a name now. This is our day at the office. This is what we do. But each call, it's that family's worst day of their life.
I don't think we see the death all day. We see the living.
All right, taking another look outside with live cam here tonight. It's a little muggy. Last week, of course, it was colder than average to start off the week, and then we saw a warming trend take place, and really that was with us as we wrapped up 2022 and now heading into 2023. Highs today much warmer than the average. Our average high for January 1st is 63 degrees. We were in the upper 70s and even some 80s. 78 here in town. Del Rio reached 87 earlier this afternoon. Temperatures cooling down. We're in the 60s. A couple low 70s, though, where some of that fog and cloud cover developing. Kennedy, Pleasanton, stretching over to Victoria. Still upper 60s here in San Antonio. Again, that moisture is with us overnight and first thing tomorrow morning. So patchy fog as well as some drizzle is expected. And then we see the first of a couple fronts move in, and the much more comfortable air takes us throughout the second half of the week. More details on that in just a few.
We'll look forward to it. Thank you, Mia. A power outage and fire are two things you really don't want to happen when you're on a Ferris wheel. Well, both happened in Florida last night. Find out how long dozens of people were left stranded.
And cities trying to climb out of a housing crisis getting bogged down by a trend industry leaders call out of control. Why local experts say short-term rentals are part of the problem.